couple of years ago, Dua Lipa released her second studio album called Future Nostalgia. Now, aside from the fact that it's an amazing album, I thought a lot about the title. Future Nostalgia. It didn't make any sense to me at first. How can you feel like you're remembering something that hasn't happened yet? But when you slow down and really think about it, it sort of represents how we experience time. Because every one of us, at some point, has felt that strange feeling where you feel like you've experienced something you know you haven't before. It's called déjà vu, the French term meaning already seen. It's that strange, eerie sensation where you're absolutely convinced you've lived through a situation you know you haven't before. It's sort of like nostalgia from the future. Many scientists have tried to explain déjà vu. It doesn't make any sense to remember something you're experiencing for the first time, right? The most common explanation is that it's a misfire in the brain, a mix-up between your short-term and long-term memory. But here's a more interesting way to look at it. What if déjà vu isn't a glitch in the brain? What if it's your mind briefly sensing how time really works? And what if time isn't the straight line from the past to the present to the future, but something much stranger, much weirder, and not so discrete? We all think we know what time is, but truly, no one does. And after centuries of thought and science, 3 theories have been developed to explain the workings of time. The first one being presentism. It's the view you and I probably instinctively live with and is the one universally accepted by the scientific community at the moment. This view states that only the present exists. The past is gone and the future is yet to come. All we have, all that's real, is this fleeting instant now. Imagine you're driving down a dark road with your headlights on. The 10 meters lit ahead of you, that's the present. Everything else is either gone or still hidden. This view fits our daily experience. It feels comforting. It gives meaning to change, growth, regret, and hope. But here's the problem. If only the present exists, how can you feel like you're remembering something that hasn't happened yet? Another issue is that it contradicts Einstein's theory of special relativity, which states that 2 observers moving in different motions can experience time differently. The theory also delves into how space and time are interwoven into a single entity called space-time. So a person moving through a rocket ship experiences time much differently than someone who's stationary here on Earth. Let's take the movie Interstellar, for example. Interstellar follows the story of a former NASA pilot, Cooper, who is sent on a mission with his team of researchers to find a different planet for humanity to continue life on, as Earth is now rendered uninhabitable. In this movie, many of you might consider Interstellar to be science fiction, but truly, the math and physics in it is incredibly accurate. In fact, Christopher Nolan even went out as to hire Nobel Prize-winning physicist Kip Thorne to ensure every equation and concept in the movie are completely accurate. One of the main concepts is time dilation, the phenomenon in which time moves slower for an observer in moving in high velocities or in strong gravitational fields. This is seen in one of the planets the astronauts visit, Miller's planet, in which time runs very differently. 1 hour on Miller's planet equals 7 years on Earth. Think about it this way. If this TEDx event were on Miller's planet, it would still be 4 hours for us, but it would be 28 years for everyone else back at home. Crazy, right? Let's take a look at each of the characters' timelines. Cooper. Cooper, for himself, is living in the present on Miller's planet. However, for every hour that he's been gone, 7 years have passed on Earth. And so his daughter, technically, in a sense, is in his future. However, for Murphy, his daughter, she is living in the present. And yet, due to time dilation, her dad is trapped in the past. In one universe, in one shared reality, how can there be 2 presents? In each of these characters' perspectives, their presents are equally as correct and equally exist. So whose now is the real one? Moving on to eternalism. It's the philosophical view that the past, present, and future all exist equally and simultaneously. Time isn't something that flows. It's something that just is, like a landscape, and you're standing at one point of it. If presentism is like driving with your headlights on, eternalism is like looking at Google Maps from satellite view. The whole route from origin to destination has already been mapped out. You just haven't traveled it yet. A study conducted by Ronald Gruber and Richard Bloch revealed that the phenomenon of time flowing is nothing but a perceptual illusion constructed by your brain. In this study, two groups were shown videos of a piece of toast coming out of a toaster and a man walking. The only difference between these videos was that the interstimulus interval, or the time between each frame, was different. In group 1, the interstimulus interval was 0.5 seconds. Participants described the video as a flow of events and stated that they could see the action actually happening. However, in group 2, this interval was 7 seconds, and people described it as a sequence of events rather than a flow and stated that they could not see the action actually happening. To understand this better, I have a flipbook here for you. If we see these pages individually and slowly, you too would describe this as a sequence of events, right? But when we flip through this really quickly like this, you can see this little guy actually waving. Cool, right? But here's the problem with eternalism. It defies quantum physics. Eternalism is deterministic in nature. It states that everything is already set in stone. However, quantum mechanics has proved time and again that certain events are just probabilistic in nature, such as radioactivity, for example. No amount in change or fluctuations in pH, light intensity, or temperature will ever change the probability that an atom will decay, or the intensity at which it will decay. Again, eternalism feels quite inhuman. If the future is already set, do we really have free will? Or are we just puppets walking through a script that's already been written for us? So here's a middle ground, the evolving block universe. This theory states that the past and present exist, but the future is yet to come. The universe is like a book being written page by page, each moment adding to the block, which is growing, evolving. Imagine a Polaroid picture slowly developing. What's visible exists. What isn't visible is yet to come. But once a moment arrives, it's permanent. It stays. This view gives meaning to change. It fits our daily experience. It gives space for free will, as the future isn't set, but avoids the chaos of presentism by keeping the past intact. But then again, this theory has its limits too. For one, it's hard to make fit with the theory of special relativity. If two different observers can disagree about what's happening now, how do we define the growing block of time? But what if we're asking the wrong question? What if, instead of arguing about which theory is correct, maybe we should be asking, what is each theory trying to show us about how we experience time? Presentism reflects our emotional attachment to the present. Eternalism shows the mathematical structure of reality. And the evolving block universe tries to hold on to both logic and emotion. And maybe déjà vu is what happens when these theories collide in consciousness. Maybe it's a perceptual glitch in the brain trying to make sense of the world around us. So where does this leave us? We've looked at time through three different lenses: presentism, eternalism, the evolving block universe. Each one reveals something essential. Each one speaks to a different aspect of our reality. But here's the dilemma. None of them feel truly complete. None of them truly capture the essence of the human experience of time. Each one tries to organize time into something linear, logical, and measurable. Each one tries to give time a structure. But what if time isn't structured at all, at least not in the way we perceive it? What if our need to divide the time into the past, present, and future is nothing but a mental framework we've created to try and make sense of the world around us? And that's why déjà vu is so powerful. It's not just a memory error. It's a moment where that mental framework falters. A small fracture appears in our everyday reality that time is neatly broken into before, now, and after. In that strange, fleeting moment of déjà vu, something deeper happens, something profound. We experience a reality where those boundaries don't exist at all. You experience two incompatible truths at once. One, I'm certain this moment is new, and two, I'm certain I've been here before. And both are equally as valid. Philosophers might call this a paradox of identity across time. Because what makes a moment this moment? What separates now from then? And the answer might be nothing but perception. Because if time really is a continuum, fluid and undivided, then maybe these so-called moments are nothing but illusions. We perceive time broken into discrete moments, memories, causes, and effects. But deep down, we know that this is not the true nature of time itself. The paradox lies here. In order to make sense of our world, we break it into discrete units. But by doing so, we might be blinding ourselves to the actual continuity holding everything together. Just like Zeno's paradox asks, if you divide a journey into infinite steps, will you ever arrive? Maybe we should be asking, if we divide time into moments, can we ever grasp what time truly is? In the end, déjà vu might be less about the past and more about a failure in the illusion of separation. Not a memory glitch, but a philosophical clue that we are not moving through time, but suspended within it. That the future and the past are not ahead or behind, but woven into the very fabric of the now. And what we experience as time flowing is just our mind trying to navigate a reality too vast to comprehend all at once. Maybe the brain doesn't make a mistake in déjà vu. Maybe, just briefly, it tells the truth. Maybe it's the future remembering you. Thank you.